Well, a bombshell new report says that the U.S. military is quietly shipping hundreds of thousands of artillery shells to Ukraine from a massive stockpile in Israel. The New York Times says the ammunition supply is located in Israel for the U.S. military to use in regional conflicts. Now, the U.S. has also given Israel permission to use some of those emergency supplies for emergency situations. The previous government approving the move as Israel has attempted to chart a discourse with maintaining its ties with the U.S. and Ukraine while not destroying ties with Russia. It comes as Ukrainian soldiers arrived in the U.S. to learn how to use the Patriot air defense system. The training will take place at Fort Sill in Oklahoma at the U.S. Army Air Defense Artillery School. Let's take a listen now to the Pentagon spokesperson on all of this.
Tomorrow, Secretary Austin will depart for Germany, where he and the chairman of the Joint Chiefs, General Milley, will host and convene another session of the Ukraine Defense Contact Group at Ramstein Air Base. And as I highlighted earlier, the contact group has been instrumental in identifying, synchronizing, and ensuring delivery of the military capabilities the Ukrainians need to defend their homeland against Russian aggression.
Let's bring in Daniel Sheck, the former Israeli ambassador to France, joining us live in studio. Daniel, good morning. This move was done by the previous government, but this government says they will talk less and have more responsible policies when it comes to the war in Ukraine. So what can we expect from them now that this report has come out?
To be honest, I don't know. But this is... Israel has been walking a kind of tightrope since the beginning of the war in Ukraine. On the one hand, supporting Ukraine, supporting the Western Bloc in the UN, providing, in Israeli terms, massive humanitarian aid to Ukraine, but always falling short of delivering actual military aid to Ukraine. Now, this is an interesting twist because, yes, there are weapons being delivered from Israeli territory to Ukraine, but they are not produced by Israel, they are not owned by Israel, and Israel doesn't make decisions about them. It's American material, and the Americans are those who make the decisions. It's just geographically located in Israel. So I don't think this marks any real change in Israel's policy.
Is it unusual for something like this to be in play, for the United States to be shipping weapons of a stockpile in another country, that the country does have approval for emergency use? What if Israel were to need these munitions?
As far as I know, the level of the stockpile has remained such that in case of an unexpected emergency, there is still enough here for Israel to use. And Israel has been given assurances that the stockpile will be replenished as soon as possible. It has to be said that defense establishments all around the Western world are struggling with stockpiles, not just of ammunitions, but of weapons and others that haven't been produced for a long time, and levels of some of these materials have gone low because of the deliveries to Ukraine.
What about this new government and the stance on the war in Ukraine? Can we expect any different positioning when it comes to sending weapons to Ukraine, which the previous government did not do?
I don't believe so. I don't think that this is a threshold that will be crossed, at least not for the foreseeable future. Israel is not under unbearable pressure from the international community to join the effort of delivering weapons. There is pressure, there is expectation, but I think that mostly Israel's position is understood by its allies, and for the moment I don't see the possibility of change one way or the other.
Talk to us now about the Ukrainian troops going to the United States to train on the Patriot air defense system. What kind of a difference is this going to make for the Ukrainians? And how do you think the Russians will reply to the Ukrainians going to another country to train how to use their weapons?
Well, you know, the Biden administration has been, again, walking a thin line, always remaining short of being actively involved in the war, with boots on the ground, for example. But training Ukrainian military personnel is not unusual. In the past, it took place on Ukrainian soil, so it's true that this is a bit different. You know, it's another baby step towards real involvement, and I'm sure that the Russians will condemn it as such. But you know, I think it's still short of what could trigger a real escalation of the war, and you know, the Russians accusing the US and NATO of participating actively in the war.
Daniel Sheikh, the former Israeli ambassador to France, live in studio with us this morning. Thank you.